In this video, we're going to learn how to apply limit theorems to composite functions. As in the real case, we can take the limit inside a continuous function by considering the composition of the function. So let's look at the definition of a composite function. The image of a function g, which is going from g to c, is a set we define as the what we normally call the range or the image, which is gc for all z in G. That's what we normally call the image. So image set, the output set. If the image of G is contained in the domain of another function, so the image is inside the domain of another function. So we have a f function which has the domain h. So the function f match h to z. So C is the entire set. Now what happened? The image of G is inside this. So this is the domain of G function, small g function. This is small f function. So the image of G, so let's say Z, maps to something inside this set. So this is GC. So what it says that the image of G is inside the domain of F. Domain of F is H. If that is the case, then we define what we call the composition of the two functions. We write this one as f circle g. So the circle actually here means off. So f of g, that's how we normally call it. So we define this one as f of g equal f of g. So you put the g inside the f function. So that's how we define the composition. Now if you have a composition, what happens to the limit? In the real case, we know that we can bring the limit inside. The same is true for a complex function as well. So let's look at the theorem now. So what it says that the g function with the image containing h, so it's go inside h, and the f function map from h to c, and then also suppose that z naught is a accumulation point. We know that we need that condition for the limit to exist, accumulation point, and also when z goes to c naught, z maps to w naught, which is an element of h, which is an element of h. So that's a w naught, and then that's the c function that maps, that's the f function. So w naught is inside h, and f, the second function, that's the first function which has a domain g, and the second function f. The second function has to be continuous. So we don't assume that the continuity for the first function. Only the limit, we need the limit. For the second function, it has to be continuous. So if the second function is continuous at w naught, then what happens is the limit when z goes to c naught, f of gx is simply f of w naught, f of w naught. So that is, in other words, you have the limit outside and you can bring the limit inside, because this is simply w naught. So that's the limit inside result. That's how we remember it easily. You can bring the limit inside if the second function is continuous. So let's try to prove this result. So it's a very interesting proof. So what we're going to do, we assume epsilon, given epsilon, and then since the outside function is continuous at w naught, we know that there is a eta, it's called eta, such that when the difference between w and w naught is less than eta, you can see that the function value fw and fw naught is less than epsilon. It's because f is continuous at w naught. Now for this eta, so eta is fixed now for epsilon, so we have a eta. Now for this eta, since the second the inside function is the limit exists, and which is equal to w naught, you can see that's a w naught equal to w naught. You can see that because of the limit, there's a delta such that 0 less than z minus z naught less than delta implies the distance between the function and the limit value is less than eta. So you can see the first function doesn't have a 0, a less than 0 condition, and the second one has the less than 0 condition. And then what we can do now is you can combine them. So then it implies that the first one implies the second one is inside. The distance between GC and W naught is less than eta, and then this implies the limit between the distance between the composition is less than epsilon. This is because W is simply GZ. So we substitute here. That's what happened. So when you substitute, and because you know that this is the W, so you can substitute for W and you're gonna get that one. So it's coming from the first one. It's coming from the first one. And then this is exactly what we need to prove. So this says that the limit exists, and also and W naught is simply the limit of the first function. So we can also see these special conditions that we discussed earlier. So you can see that there's no 0 condition here, and there's a 0 condition there. The reason is, first one is the f function has to be continuous. So there's no 0 condition. Second one, we only look at the limit. So that's why there are two different conditions. So please pay attention to like these kind of conditions when you look at things like this. Now what we do, we look at a few problems using equation 3. That's the limit inside formula. So the first one, limit when z goes to I, the cube of c square plus 4z plus 1. We know that here the two functions are, the outside function is fc equals c cube, is very clear. And the inside function is gc equals c square plus 4c plus 1. And then we know that both f and g are continuous on c. So that means because of the continuity, what we can do is we can bring the limit inside. So we bring the limit inside, and then this is again a polynomial, so you plug in the values as we discussed earlier in another video, and then you're gonna get 4i cube, which simplifies to negative 64i. As a second example, we can look at this one. So 1 over z goes to I again, 1 over z squared plus 4i plus 1, and you can see that here fz is 1 over z, the reciprocal function, which is continuous at 4i, because you know that at 4i this doesn't make 0, the denominator. So that means it's continuous. And then again we can use the limit inside formula. So we bring the limit inside now. And then we already know this is 4i, so you're gonna get this. So that's how we lose this one, and you can see that you clearly understand what's really going on here. So that understanding is important when you try to solve problems like this. Now we can you can try these problems as practice problems. So there are several types of problems here, and also if you cannot find the limit, you can say so, like the limit doesn't exist under this theorem. So polynomial and the reciprocal function, another reciprocal function, and also we have this imaginary part formula, but there's another function in there. So there are like double composition here. So and these are also composition if you want to think like that. So like c goes to c squared plus 1 over c squared minus 1, and then it goes to the imaginary part. So there are a few functions. Okay.